do is simplify and standardize a lot of our events and products, services. Do, for instance, do bi-monthly education seminars that are cohesive. So in essence, already beginning the year, you know you're gonna do 6 different seminars, but it almost feels like one long course. So by simplifying that, and you already know ahead of time what you're gonna do, but also encourages if you go to one, you're gonna wanna go to the next one and so on. More intentional in current events, so maybe not add events, however make our events more intentional. So again, if we want younger members, let's do things that younger members want to do. It don't always necessarily need to be like everything chamber pressure. But again, one of the things you ask whenever you're talking to younger people is there's nothing to do in Del Rio. So I think we have the opportunity to create stuff to do. For instance, like I said, think outside of the box. Maybe do casino nights, possibly rent a mini golf course, something like that. Bring it here. If you build it, they'll come. To do is an awareness campaign for existing members. We may want to do a survey. So a survey can act as a couple of things. Obviously, if you give people a chance to complain, they're going to complain. But if you build a survey out to be more of an awareness campaign, so for instance, how many of these services have you used? And then you list all these things. Not only will you learn something from the member's going to learn something from you. And then for newer members, for someone that's we acquire, you have a checkup process and then probably a set process after that to keep checking up on them and make sure that they're all.
What we've written down here is we love the idea of the local election forums and trying to be spearheaded on that, and just to try to bring all of these things to light. One thing that comes to my mind right now is also bond elections, where we can bring the pros and cons to that as well. Set up coffee with some of our elected officials from the city, the county, the hospital board, the school board. So try to engage in that. Regular engagement with our elected officials. So I love the idea of presenting them the financial statement once a year, but to do that more regularly, where if we're in their face and we can sell what the chamber can do, we become their resource. They can use us as a resource for that.
Good idea.
Also, taking a stand on issues. Bolo brought up a really good point. The Hispanic Chamber presented a letter of support for the second bridge. We need to probably do more of that. And then is advocacy on the national and state level. As Blanca mentioned, when we go to DC, there's only a handful of people that go. We should have a much better showing. And that's when our elected officials on the state and the national level are going to pay attention to us a lot more. On the value component, we want to show what the economic impact is for each event and what we can do for their business. What is it that the chamber can do for your business? How can we advocate for you? How can we showcase your business, whatever it might be? So we kind of got promoted.
Awesome.
Ours was with the sports complex, so we first said we need to create a committee or a task force, so as soon as this is completed, then that committee would fall off. We also said we need to then do a lot of research and planning and designing and figuring out how to get the funds or how much funds would be needed. This one would probably be the one that's going to take the longest amount of time. I don't know if you want to elaborate.
So that research, we were talking more about like go in contact like Portland that has 20,000 people living there and saying, what made you pull the trigger, right? What help us get the right verbiage so when we go talk to our city council, what are the verbiage that we need to say to them so they could see that this is good for their community as well as your community.
Good.
And when we say plan and design, like we want to actually design the field and basically go to the city and say like, this is what we want.
Having the model plan and saying, hey, this is how much it's going to cost. Here's the plans for it. Here's, we just need a location. Help us with that. Say yes, city and county, right, at the same time. and say,
Get the public and the community on our side with it. So we'd want to educate them on what hot tax is. A lot of people, you say that, they're like, they have no clue what that stands for versus what this complex would be as an enhancement to our community.
so the biggest thing that we're talking about is when we say like, oh, this is good for hot tax, right? 80% of the community might not know what that means, right? So we're saying, hey, this is gonna be a hot tax driver to the city, you know, but this is what tax funds are get used for, and so in return, this is gonna get you this, and this.
Benefits them.
And how it benefits them, right? I know that we do have some fields right now that people are like, well, what about us? What about basketball? What about football? Well, this is not this is gonna be an economic driver more than a field to go practice and have local kids. But we do have this, and this for the local community and have it ready, right?
Good.
So, and then the last one I know Martha mentioned is just educating them and saying, you know, what exactly is expected from our community so we can enhance that economic driver to come in and out.
Excellent.
And then once we have all of that, we will present it to the city and the county. Eddie has already connected with Keith Hamilton, who helped, which one?
So they helped Pecos. Pecos is almost the same size as us, right? They have, you know, they call it the oasis of baseball parks. They, you know, he went out there and he said, here's how much money revenue could come into the city when I hold a World Series tournament, you know.
Okay. Good. Excellent.
We talked, of course, of forming a membership committee of about 5 members, and then looking at other chambers that have the same structure that we could compare our dues to a city of our size. Reassess our current dues for offering the different membership levels, maybe the tier that you were talking about. Offering a flat rate for nonprofits. I believe right now we have different rates or different dues
People on different
amounts. And then 6, of course, was have the automatic billing renewals, so that money comes in and we're not having to call them all the time. So
Excellent. Questions, anybody?
Great job.
Okay, great job.